All right. Welcome to Pomona Reimagining, Building Our Future Together. This is our Reimagining Our Safety Net, this first session. And I'm Julie Wheeler, one of the committee members for Pomona Reimagining. We welcome on behalf of our nonprofits, city management, city leaders, school district, police, probation, religious communities, and citizens. This was what we're in today came out of an outgrowth of a conference about a year and a half ago called Pomona Reawakening. You can probably see the similarities. So out of this conference, we had a lot of people that just really worked together and coalesced, and we decided to continue the good works. And so we are doing 4 quarterly sessions called Pomona Reimagining. This one is on basic needs. So we welcome you to the launch of the coming year's work together in a series of quarterly meetings. Pomona Reimagining, Building Our Future Together. Now, a bit of housekeeping. This is our first plenary session, and we have not set aside time for Q&A. However, if you have some burning question, you can put it in the chat and we will address it at later, future consideration. We ask now that you mute yourself and turn off your picture to highlight our speakers. And if you have any issues with the technical part of the session, you may email our technical guru, Lucero, and her email is lrojo, LROJO @laverne.edu. And I think she's going to put that in, there it is. So in chat. So if you have any issues, would you please email Lucero? She is keeping an eye on her email. So we are honored to have city officials with us to launch our important collaborative effort. But a breaking announcement. Our keynote speaker, Mayor Tim Sandoval, has had a personal emergency to which he had to attend. So he sends his deepest regrets and his highest admiration for this work. And even though this may embarrass him, we all know that Pomona is fortunate to have his wise, caring, visionary leadership. And we are all called to work together in these challenging times. And my personal claim to fame is that I voted for Tim Sandoval. So, you know, my vote probably got him over the edge. You can thank me later. So what Tim is so proud of in our city is the deep commitment of many of you and others working to build compassion and innovation into how we live and serve our city. We are proud to call ourselves a city of compassion, which is an international destination, and only a handful of cities have this across the nation. This is the right goal at the right time. As you can honestly say, this is an era that desperately needs our country and our cities to build success and compassion for all. We have so many good works and initiatives happening in the city that I couldn't go over all of them. But out of that last conference that I was talking about, Pomona Awakening, a burgeoning movement came about, restorative justice, restorative practices, and that caught my attention. And that's how I've connected to the city. And so we are hoping that tonight in our collaboration together, that something might capture your heart, and that we might continue to do good works in the city. So these times call for reimagining because we need to think creatively to address the challenges of the times that have grown with limited resources of our national, state, and local governments. How can we do more and do it more effectively and efficiently to reach all those who are in need? How can we capture the power of our residents and families in being part of the transformation that's happening in Pomona? This is the work ahead for Pomona Reimagining. So I want to welcome Victor Preciado. We are grateful for this man, his commitment, caring, and leadership in the city of Pomona as a city council member. He is dedicated and leads to serve our Pomona families that is and so appreciated and so needed in this time. It was Victor who gave shape to the importance of today's session, reimagining basic needs. Let me invite him to tell us why during these times this is so urgent and important. And also let me invite him to share some of the work he and other organizations have been working on to address the need for food so families don't go to bed hungry. Perhaps these efforts can be the catalyst for our brainstorming and system building that comes from our work tonight and over the coming months. Victor, welcome. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Victor Preciado, as Julie said. Thank you, Julie, by the way. I have the honor of serving as a city council member in the city of Pomona. Welcome, Hector. Thank you very much for being here with us today. As Julie said, it was unfortunate that our mayor wasn't able to attend due to his emergency, but I know that he loves brainstorming and imagining and reimagining what it is that our city can do and what it can do for the future moving forward. First, let me speak about some of the things he highly likes and really enjoys, as we all enjoy recognizing in our city that we have always been able to gather together and think ahead for many, many years in the future. We are obviously now gathering in a much different way due to the pandemic, but I don't think Pomona has ever stopped gathering. We are such I call it a family of compassion that gets together and tries to see how we can always better ourselves, but also the surrounding area. Many times he speaks about our forward thinking with education through institutions like Cal Poly, and even our regional family members in the Claremont colleges, such as Pomona College. We think about the foresight of health with Pomona Valley Hospital being so near and dear with us, but also Western University, thinking about health and education. And at the same time, thanks to Mayor Sandoval and the council, we think about our future with the Gold Line coming in. We always gather together knowing that Pomona is the heart and soul for this region, and it's what's going to move us forward. Because of COVID, and there has been an economic crisis, it has created hardship for many of our families and individuals. We need to expand the way we interact with others. We just passed through an election where the knocking went down and the communication and in-person communication went down, but it's also setting records for the amount of voters that have been able to turn out. So how are we reaching those families, and how are we connecting to making sure that we are thinking of innovative ways, things that can be successful and doable, as everyone here is here because they want to be involved. They want to continue helping. The question we hope to chase tonight is, how can we work together in a more intentional and coordinated way? We need to figure out new ways to capture the power of technology and the human power of our organizations, and even the families who we help, that we also help and serve. They can also come and join us, making sure that it is accessible to everybody and anyone that wants to help. I'm going to tell you a little bit about a food distribution program that we have started. It honestly started with 10 families that needed food, and we said, how can we help them? And we were able to partner up with an incredible organization in the city called God's Pantry, led by Tom Sweeney, Augusto as well, and many others. And we said, hey, do you have an opportunity that we can feed these families? And I'm sorry, Goose, I'm so used to calling you by your nickname, but it's Augusto Dolce, and that is his name. Um, but that those 10 families that we started off with then changed to 20 and then changed to 40. And now we are feeding over 500 families, and we just passed 600 2 weeks ago for the first time ever. And we're doing that on a weekly basis. Up to this point, we have fed over 50,000 people, over 3,500 families, and it has created an infrastructure for us that can be copied and used in many different ways. For Halloween, many of us knew that we weren't going to be able to walk and gather, and we wanted to get creative. We launched an event here at the Fairplex in partnership, and we called it, and many others, by the way, many helped put that event together. We called it Spooky Eats and Treats. That we were able to serve over 800 cars that day, and we gave over 3,000 bags of candy, but as well as over 1,200 boxes of food. Thank you to all of the volunteers that came out to that event. Much of our logistics has been taking place through text messaging. And funny enough, a close friend of mine said she had just researched that text messaging has become simple and accessible to everybody to be able to reach, because you don't need to go to a website. And I don't know if many of you, like myself, have become bombarded with meetings from one Zoom meeting to the next, to the point where I remember there used to be jokes about the little voicemail message on your phone, that you would listen to your voicemails just to get rid of that little thing. And I don't even remember the last time I even listened to my voicemail, but I look at my text messages all the time. Um, you know, we do have a hardship though, because that our current structure goes through one cell phone only. And so how can we use technology to change that and make it better so that it's self-sustaining? Because the current project is not sustainable. It's also very dependent on volunteers. And as we grow, as the need grows, we need to start adjusting and bringing in other partners to work together. If we can figure out how to do this around the basic need for food, we might be able to then use it as a building block in which we can expand upon to connect people's other basic needs. Because yes, food is our first resource, but we also need to think about housing, our healthcare, and our jobs. This four-part series is the reimagining of the future for Pomona, but very much we have to start off with the very first building blocks. And I believe that putting food on the table for everybody is our starting point, and making sure that those that most needed, are we communicating and are we reaching out to them at the closest level. During COVID, we have had business assistance here in the city, and I'll tell you right now, we have the money, but we are not reaching enough businesses. So are we asking ourselves why? Like I mentioned, our delivery system has weaknesses, and I recognize those, and we are trying to figure out how can we create those into solutions. So the same thing goes with our business assistance, with our rental assistance, and our rental assistance, I believe, has been much more successful and amazing, because we've been able to partner up with community outreach services out throughout the city and community partners. Some of them are the Pomona Economic Opportunity Center, the Tri-City Mental Health Services. We have to go out to where our service, those that we wish to service are, and we need to do that in partnership together. So I can't wait to break out with everyone today. Thank you very much for joining us. And I will be taking on one of those with my friend Sham. And thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Victor. We'll go a little into depth because we have a little bit of time. So as we conclude this plenary session, you'll be seeing in the chat a new Zoom link. So you will select the Zoom link for the breakout session that you would like to attend. And we have 3 breakout sessions. So our first breakout group is called Building a Communication System for Pomona Families and Individuals. And the gist of that is, and I'll give just a little background. Many of our families in need are renters, and a lot of the information that comes into a household comes through an electric bill. And if they're renters, they might not be getting that electric bill. And so how does someone like Victor communicate with those in need? And what's the system? What's the easy system? And we have some people that have been thinking about that and working on that. And so our first breakout session is called Building a Communication System for Pomona Families and Individuals. So if that's your something that piques your interest, you would go to that one. Our second breakout group is called How to Get Emergency Food to the Most People as Quickly as Possible. So you heard Victor, he's been doing that, and he says that the system that he has works, and yet it is not sustainable. So we need your brain and your brainstorming to be thinking about how to make this a sustainable system. And our third breakout group is how can urban agriculture help Pomona grow her way to food security? So this is more of the gardens and growing and getting green food into our people's, the boxes of food that they're getting. So the goal for all of our breakout groups is to move from tonight's brainstorming to implementation by March of 2021. So some of the solutions that are the most promising and doable. Our goal is to move from talking to launching. Finally, as you are aware, our theme for the coming year for Pomona Reimagining is Building Our Future Together. We will host quarterly meetings throughout the year on different themes. In March 2021, our virtual meeting will address reimagining resilience and sustainability for Pomona. Keep your eye out for that. We don't have a date quite yet. We will move from building systems to meet basic emergency needs to building systems of sustainability and resilience. And you may wish to stay connected to Pomona Reimagining, and we have this really snappy website called pomonareimagining.org, O-R-G, and that should be maybe in the chat, pomonareimagining.org. Recordings of this event will also be stored there, so you can check that out. And we ask that you stay connected through email updates. And again, we thank you for your good work and your time here for the beautiful city of Pomona. So click your breakout session and enjoy your time together.